Developing right now, crews in the Southwest scramble to corral wildfires.
We've got a historic wind event.
Let's take you over to Mike Valerio, who's live in New Mexico right now, where dangerous fire conditions are prompting more evacuations.
Well, at this hour, we are certainly feeling these wind gusts. They are clocking in at 30 miles an hour, a far cry from yesterday when we had gusts of up to 77 miles an hour. But as we push into our backdrop right here, you can see the front lines of the largest wildfire in the United States. 39% containment right here, 1,700 firefighters battling behind those front lines with thousands of people still evacuated as treacherous weather days remain ahead.
This fire is still extremely dangerous.
Powerful winds, high temperatures, and low humidity, a dangerous mix that's fueling several wildfires in New Mexico.
We're seeing flames from a house probably 200-300 feet in the air, and it was roaring like a freight train.
The so-called Calf Canyon Hermit's Peak fire is now the second largest wildfire on record in New Mexico. So far, it's charred more than 200,000 acres, an area nearly the size of New York City. The monster wildfire is a combination of two fires burning out of control, which have triggered evacuation orders and have destroyed many homes.
So you cry and you feel all this emotion, and then it's going to be hard because you think you're dealing with it right now. But I can guarantee you that I know when I get there and I see it for myself, all that is going to come again.
While some evacuation orders have been lifted, officials warn conditions may worsen and are urging people to stay vigilant. The National Weather Service in Albuquerque says wind gusts could pick up Tuesday afternoon and predict the hot and dry windy conditions could continue through Thursday.
We've got a historic wind event and several red flag days, which really mean that the weather is creating extreme fire risk.
Now, I got to say, within the past hour, things certainly seem to have improved here. There was a DC-10 tanker that dropped fire retardant just behind me, and it seems as though there's certainly less smoke in our backdrop than there was within the past hour or 2 hours ago. We're also looking to increase fire danger from here 220 miles north to Colorado Springs, Colorado over the next day or so. Also training our eyes on the middle of Texas, Amarillo, where temperatures are going to be in the triple digits and fire danger extending about 50 miles north of the city of Amarillo. But for now, that's the latest reporting here in San Jose, New Mexico. I'm Mike Valerio. Let's send it back to you.
Now to the Philippines, where the son of a former dictator is the projected winner in the presidential election. Ferdinand Marcos Jr., also called Bongbong, appears to have won a huge margin there, and many are calling it a landslide. His parents, of course, being Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos, who have many ties to the islands. We'll have more on that in a moment. But this new election is one that could have broad implications for America's influence in the region. Elizabeth Palmer has more on that.
The ecstatic crowds at his rallies hinted Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos would win. But his landslide marks not only a victory for the candidate, but a comeback for one of Asia's most infamous political families. Marcos lovers and haters crowded into polling stations Monday to cast their ballots. After 6 years of populist rule by the outgoing president, Rodrigo Duterte, alleged to have ordered extrajudicial killings of drug dealers, there was huge support for the current vice president and human rights lawyer, Leni Robredo. But she was no match for the Marcos machine, which delivered a clear majority of millions of votes.
Bongbong Sara!
Bongbong, that's him on the right, was a teenager when his father, Ferdinand Marcos, was president. But after more than a decade of epic corruption, human rights abuses, and martial law, Filipinos rose up in 1986, and Marcos and his family fled the country. Furious mobs overran the presidential palace, famously discovering First Lady Imelda Marcos' collection of thousands of shoes. Ferdinand Marcos died 3 years later, having embezzled billions of dollars. Fast forward to 2022. Bongbong, now 64, cast his vote on Monday along with his mother Imelda. Their pitch to the voters? A Marcos in power means not corruption and abuse, but stability and security.
Nauunawaan ng Pilipino.
At home, they bought it. Abroad, not so much.
A Marcos presidency is not likely to be close to the United States.
That's because Marcos faces a contempt order here and millions of dollars in penalties linked to the money embezzled by his family decades ago. But for millions of Filipinos, that's ancient history. And Bongbong is now their champion of tomorrow. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News.
All right, we've been talking a lot about this election here at HNN, and we've also put together a special digital documentary called The Imelda Tapes. Really what it's about is we've just found a bunch of old tapes with footage from the Marcoses' time spent here in Hawaii. They were exiled here after being ousted from the Philippines. You saw it there, and you also saw there those shoes. And in this clip I'm going to play out, it's from 60 Minutes. They granted us access to use it. Diane Sawyer questions Imelda about those shoes, and let me just play it out for you.
She controlled a lot of government jobs and government money. As for her money and her taste, by now almost everybody's heard about the opulent bedroom, decorated in the style of Marie Antoinette. Not to mention the row after row of expensive dresses and the famous shoes, nearly 3,000 pairs of them.
I have no weakness for shoes. I wear very simple shoes, which are palm shoes. It is not one of my weaknesses.
That's what she told us the first time we saw her. She said that the 3,000 pairs of shoes now in the Palace Museum belong not just to her, but to her daughters and the maids and the nurses at the palace. So when we stopped by on our way back from Manila, we asked her if she and the maids and the nurses all wore the same size. But they're all size 8.5.
No. No.
That's what they say at the palace.
No, we have to look at that. I am positive of this. I am sure there has been a lot of tampering, just like what they did with our documents.
So many more clips like that one from 60 Minutes and so much more we've unearthed here at HNN. You can watch the Imelda Tapes, our brand new HNN documentary right now, streaming on all your HNN digital platforms. But for now, let's get to today's other top stories.
Yeah, another bizarre story we've been following. We're learning new details about how the manhunt for an Alabama inmate and the corrections official accused of helping him came to an end. Now, police cornered Casey White and Vicky White, no relation, in Evansville, Indiana, yesterday following a chase. Casey White, who is facing a capital murder charge, surrendered. Authorities say Vicky White shot herself and later died from her injury. Chris Davis from our CBS affiliate in Nashville, WTVF, is in Evansville, Indiana, with more.
Authorities in Evansville, Indiana, displayed guns found in the vehicle driven by an escaped Alabama inmate and the corrections official accused of helping him. Authorities say if U.S. Marshals hadn't rammed the car into a ditch, the standoff could have ended very differently.
He said that he was probably going to have a shootout at the stake of both of them losing their lives.
Casey White, who was in prison for attempted murder and facing a capital murder charge, surrendered. Police say Vicky White shot herself and later died from her injury. There's no evidence that the pair were related, even though the inmate is said to have referred to the jailer as his wife.
We understand that Casey said, "Go help my wife," when law enforcement arrived. What did you make of that?
Well, he was uttering a lot of words when he got out of there. I think he was just in a state of shock.
The manhunt started last month nearly 300 miles away in Lauderdale County, Alabama. Surveillance video shows the pair leaving the jail in her patrol car. Authorities say it appears the couple had been in Indiana about a week before the tips and surveillance photos led to their capture.
He said that he was just trying to find a place to hide out and lay low.
Authorities say the couple had about $29,000 on them when they were apprehended. Casey White signed a waiver of extradition and will return to Alabama. Chris Davis, CBS News, Evansville, Indiana.
New information emerging today as the NTSB discusses the cause of a tour helicopter crash on Kauai that killed 7 people in December 2019. 4 adults and 3 children were on board the safari helicopter's tour of the Na Pali coast when it crashed into a heavily forested area of steep terrain. Investigators say the craft went down about half an hour into the flight in an area of low visibility due to adverse weather. They say their findings suggest the pilot, 69-year-old Paul Matero of Wailua, who was described by colleagues as safety conscious, did not maintain a required 3-mile visibility during the flight, which occurred during a period of deteriorating conditions in the area.
Pilots can be trained to make better in-flight assessments by viewing photorealistic depictions of weather, receiving feedback on the accuracy of their estimates, and being familiarized with environmental cues that should prompt a diversion. Safari did not provide the pilot the kind of training FAA research has determined can improve pilots' in-flight weather assessments.
Matero had 12 years of experience flying on Kauai and was Safari Helicopter's chief pilot. The other victims included families from Wisconsin and Switzerland. The NTSB says Matero may have lacked relevant weather information before embarking on the flight. At the time of the crash, the FAA was planning to install 5 weather camera facilities on Kauai on an NTSB recommendation. None had yet been installed.
So it appears inflation is also having an impact on Oahu's rail project, potentially raising the cost even more. Rail leaders have proposed a shorter route that runs only to Kaka'ako so they can receive more than $700 million in funding from the Federal Transit Administration or the FTA. That proposal, known as the Recovery Plan, has been approved by the rail project's board of directors, sending it to the city council. But the rail CEO says there's an issue with the FTA.
I do have to say we're not in agreement with our numbers right now. Our costs that we put in the recovery plan, they feel because of the what they call uncertainty, which is the unknown unknowns. HART has put in contingencies in our and risk numbers in our recovery plan. They do feel we need to increase it by several hundred millions of dollars. And that's mainly because we don't know what's happening with inflation, the Ukraine-Russian war, the supply chain, all of those things. That's what they're labeling as unknown unknowns.
Lori Kahikini says the FTA requires rail leaders to increase their risk budget, so they'll need to start again. That means the updated recovery plan gets sent to the rail board of directors, then to the city council, then finally to the FTA. Under the current recovery plan, the shorter rail route to Kaka'ako is projected to cost just under $10 billion. Rail leaders say they would still like to extend the route to Ala Moana and even to UH Manoa someday in the future. So it's the first all-rental development built in Waikiki in decades. The 363-unit Lilia Waikiki has opened on Kohio Avenue across from the International Marketplace. Move-ins have already gotten underway. So even the smallest apartments in the tower rent for $2,300 a month. Another feature of this new building is a new market, a full-service Foodland grocery store on the first 2 floors of the building.
Gas prices in Hawaii keep breaking new records. Billy V is in Kalihi with the new numbers.
Thank you very much. We're here today at Dillingham and McNeil Street, right by the Heli gas station, where we've been talking to motorists all day long and asking them how is this affecting the high gas prices, what they do. Some are consolidating trips. Others maybe buying less at the grocery store, or when they're going out to dinner, maybe they won't do it as often. Let's tell you about the gas prices. AAA says that the average gas price per gallon for someone is $5.30 across the state of Hawaii for regular gas. Of course, prices may vary depending on stations. Before we came on the air, I drove to a bunch of stations. Waikimilo, Texaco, just nearby here, $5.21 a gallon. King, before Kalihi Street, another service station with $5.19 a gallon. This service station here, $4.93 a gallon, a difference of about 30 cents. So shop around, you may find some deals. We should also note neighbor islands are certainly paying higher prices. These prices are a huge jump from a year ago when we were paying $3.80 a gallon. Drivers in California are shelling out even more, nearly $6 a gallon. As of this morning, the nationwide average is just under $4.40, surpassing the record set back on March 11th. Prices dipped a little bit last month after a record-setting release from the emergency oil reserves, but the relief is proving to be short-lived and minor due to multiple factors, namely the war in Ukraine and inflation. Meantime, while people are pulling up to the pumps here, they're shaking their heads in dismay because the prices seem to be higher each time with no end in sight. From Kalihi, we'll send it back to you. More on This Is Now.
Thank you very much, Billy.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Mega ouch. All right, guys, let's get you a check of your weather. Here's Guy Hockey.
We're going to see fairly dry conditions for the rest of the day. A few more showers tomorrow morning, again for the east windward sides only. And then after that, you can see spotty rainfall at best. Now, Tuesday of next week is when we could see a few more showers, but there's less confidence in that. We're not really sure of that. We're pretty sure of what's going to happen over the next few days. A few windward and Mocha showers today, some passing clouds from time to time. More sunshine by this afternoon and for the next several days. And even though we're expecting mostly dry conditions, there will be occasional shower from time to time. And look at those winds, especially strong through Saturday, lighter winds on Sunday.
History was made in the British Parliament. For only the third time in her 70-year reign, Queen Elizabeth II was unable to perform the monarch's tradition of opening Parliament. Max Foster has more on the significance of this event.
This was quite a big moment in modern British history. We've got used to seeing Prince Charles step up and represent the Queen when she can't make an event. But this was a core constitutional responsibility, the opening of Parliament. It can't happen without the monarch, and she couldn't get there because of a recurring mobility issue, according to the palace. The Queen then issued legal orders to allow Prince Charles and Prince William to represent her at the event instead. Prince Charles read for the very first time the Queen's speech, which lays out the government's legislative agenda for the coming parliamentary term. We weren't told that the Queen wouldn't be able to attend until the night before, and that's really the pattern these days. If she has something in her diary, we won't be sure she'll be there until the morning, the day of, when the palace will inform us. I'm Max Foster in London.
Wishing the Queen the best there.
Yes.
All right, what else is the internet talking about? And this was sort of a bummer for me because it's really a sign of the time. So get this, guys. Say goodbye to the iPod. The device that helped Apple change the entire music industry will soon be just a memory. The tech giant announced today that it's discontinuing the iPod. The digital music player was first introduced back in 2001. I was in college. I remember the very first time I saw one. I said to my friend Laura, "What is that?" And I held it. It was like the size and felt the weight of a brick. But that quickly changed, as we all know. The first portable MP3 player that was able to hold 1,000 songs. The device redefined how people bought, enjoyed, and shared music. The iPod eventually underwent several upgrades and variations. I remember having the Mini as well. It started to lose popularity, though, with those smartphones. They took over the way we listen to music on the go. Now Apple says its newest iPod Touch will be the final one. And that is the original one right there.
I've had pretty much every one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still have the Mini from way back when, but I don't know if it still works.
That's
I know some
the one
people.
With the clip on the back?
No, the Mini was like a small rectangular.
Oh,
It looks
okay.
like almost like a Roku remote size. Yeah. Bye-bye, iPod.
Yep. Sorry. Well, while her third performance of Full Circle was likely her best yet, American Samoa's Tanel placed 6th in the finals of the American Song Contest last night. Check it out.
Polynesian people came together all for me, and that is amazing. This is only the beginning of a whole lot of great things. God is good, and I'm just so excited.
Yeah, so the singer who lives part-time in Hawaii got only 37 points from the show's jury, but 305 points from the public. So Mark Barger has a wrap-up of everything that happened last night.
Feeling like Superman.
A soul singer from Washington State scored big with the jury. But a K-pop singer from Oklahoma won over America, and when the combined vote came in, 25-year-old Alex Christine, better known as Alexa, won the first ever American Song Contest title.
When it was announced, I think my heart just burst inside. We were all crying, just so happy and just so grateful for this experience.
The Tulsa-born singer moved to her mother's homeland of South Korea after high school to pursue a K-pop career. After ringing up several hit songs there, she's now got one stateside with Wonderland.
Her originality, being from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like, come on, K-pop, Oklahoma.
I did not see that coming.
Colorado's Riker Lynch finished second, and Washington's Alan Stone came in fifth, despite winning the jury vote of music industry professionals.
I love the jury's vote. Alan Stone is incredible. I loved him before this show, but it was incredible to that suspense, and all of a sudden Alexa killed it.
Her winning song will now be played on iHeart radio stations nationwide, and a special invitation awaits for Sunday night.
I believe I'm presenting an award at the Billboard Awards, which is a tremendous feat because that makes me nervous. I don't know who I'm going to be talking to.
But for now, the talk is all about Alexa and her unlikely musical roots.
I don't know if it's the home of K-pop in America, but Oklahoma is forever and always the home of Alexa.
The champion of American Song Contest. Mark Barker, NBC News.
And there we have it. The winner is.
So that's all they get is their song is played on iHeartRadio?
I guess. But I mean, the prestige and like winning that whole show, that had a
Sure.
huge following. That's a big deal. And I didn't realize she had success in South Korea as well. Very cool. Some other entertainment news to get to.
Yeah, so Blake Shelton, you know him from The Voice, and Carson Daly, they're teaming up to launch a new celebrity game show. So the country singer and television host will star in and produce the show Bar-mageddon. Now, the series will take place at Shelton's Nashville bar, Ole Red, and will feature celebrities playing wild and crazy bar games like cornhole and darts. So the two celebrities will go head-to-head to win prizes for viewers, and it's for the USA Network and will be hosted by WWE star Nikki Bella with Carson Daly tending bar. So there will be music too, of course, with Shelton and his house band taking the stage. No word yet about a premiere date. Interesting concept.
Yeah, very interesting. And Starbucks fans, listen up, and I'm going to show it to you here. Check this out. I think I have the video. There it is. Yep, that's because Starbucks has a new option for their menu for you. New chocolate cold brew is joining that menu. The drink is topped with a light chocolate cream foam and is sweetened with vanilla syrup. That sounds like a very, very, very sweet drink. I don't know if I would like that. Cold beverages like iced coffee and frappuccinos have been extremely successful for Starbucks. Yeah, I think a lot of people like it. I know I'm not a coffee drinker. I do like hot chocolate.
Yeah, I think they had like an earnings report, and the CEO said that frappuccinos and all those sweet stuff make about 80% of their sales.
Whoa!
Yeah,
whoa,
very
whoa.
popular.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. I want to leave you with something very cute as I load it up on my machine right here. Some tigers having a ball at the Dallas Zoo.